encouraged here at the cloisters. We ask that you please not speak or make other distracting noises during the show. You may have candy or a snack as long as the wrapper is already open, because wrappers will distract your fellow patients. Snacks will be available during intermission. Also, please don't use photography and video during this performance.
Please keep from answering the phone, except on Tuesdays when we have our calling days. Enjoy the show.
Is their car still out front, Fairy? I said, is their car still out front?
Oh, Fairy! Florence was speaking to you.
I'm sorry, Florence. I was watching the fireflies. What did you say?
I said, can you see if they've left yet?
I wish I'd been born a cat so I could see in the dark.
I don't think I'm going to wait for her. I'm going to get a book and go to my room.
Does your jaw hurt tonight, Jeff?
Not bad.
Then why don't you stay a little longer? We'd love to have you.
Jeff, you've already invested 213 minutes in waiting. Surely you can spare an additional 10 cents worth?
All right, my statistical friend. My curiosity is good for 10 minutes more.
I wonder what she's like. Miss Willie says they are one of the wealthiest families in America.
Oh. Well, that's bad. Well, she'll have some expensive camera she can't work and rave about some artist I've never even heard of.
Listen, has money spoiled me?
Do you have money, Fairy?
Facts.
Now, let's not be prejudiced about money. Some of my best friends are wealthy. Hannibal, play something for us while we wait. Help distract Jeff.
Well, you catch me too. What shall I play?
Surprise us.
How's about a gypsy charter?
Oh, please don't play gypsy music, Hannibal. It frightens me.
Frightens you?
Terrifies me. I was stolen by gypsies when I was a child and rescued just as they were about to dye my skin with walnut juice. Well, I was.
Go ahead, Hannibal.
I hope she likes music. All my life. Oh, do you think she plays an instrument? The harp, maybe? I'm sorry, Hannibal. Continue. I was raised on harp. My father played it like an angel.
Jeff, what are you doing?
Oh, there's a book I wanted on the shelf. I'm sorry, Hannibal.
Fairy, get the book for Jeff so that we can listen to Hannibal.
I'll get on the chair.
Never mind, Fairy. I get it.
No, I'll get it for you. Climbing on chairs is women's work. Men have mountains. Which book did you want?
The lifespan of the ape.
People donate the strangest books to the library. I never could get into the Forbidden Tibet.
You know, it's amazing what standing above people does. Do you know I feel smarter than anyone else in the whole world?
It's the yellow one.
My mother invented the filing system at the New York Library, so books are in my blood. She was queen of cross index.
I'll get the book, Fairy.
No, musicians shouldn't work.
Careful, Fairy, don't get dust in your eyes.
Wouldn't you rather have animal husbandry? I can reach that one.
This time it's got to be the lifespan of the ape.
Well, here. Goose it out with this. Ah! Someone turn the lights back on.
Don't let me fall.
Lights!
Hannibal, get to the Swift before someone is hurt!
It looks like Mrs. Patty is back.
Oh.
Lights, lights, lights!
Please, Mrs. Patty, let us keep the lights on!
Some night you're going to turn out the lights at the wrong time and hurt somebody. Then you'll be sorry. I do wish you'd chosen to give something else up for Lent.
It's unfair to make the rest of us suffer to get you to have Mrs. Patty.
Some people like electricity.
Now sit at your easel like a good girl and leave the lights alone.
I must say you startled us, Miss Willie.
For the love of Pete, Fairy, what are you up to?
I was getting a look for Jeffrey.
With the violin bow?
I couldn't quite reach it.
I certainly didn't mean to cause what was a commotion. Forget.
Oh, I'll get it for you. Everyone watch his own head. Timber! There you are, Jeffrey. You may take the bow, Miss Willie, and you may take my hand, Hannibal.
The next time anybody wants a book from the top, Fairy, call me. Why, the whole shelf might have fallen on you.
Oh, who ever heard of anyone being hurt by good books?
Enough of them, my darling, and I'd hate that to happen.
I hate everything in the world. But most of all, I hate cold green hot dogs, codfish, crawfish, catfish, catnip, sheep dip, sawdust, sewers, skewers, pins, pens, puns, policemen, and electricity.
Miss Willie, how much longer do we have to wait?
What is she like, Miss Willie?
I haven't seen her. Let's tidy the room a bit. Fairy, will you put that Parcheesi board away, please?
Is she young or old, Miss Willie?
All I know is that her name is Savage, and she gets the blue room.
I hope she isn't beautiful. Competition exhausts me.
Oh, Bingo, you tied that one in a hurry.
Miss Willie, don't call me that, please. I've been my wife for years. And I wish you would single me out of this.
You're the handsomest.
What would my wife think if she came across a strange woman kissing me? She'd explode.
She would if I know her.
You please try to remember.
I'll try. Forgive me.
Ting-a-ling-a-ling.
Hello? Yes, Dr. Emmett. Right away. Put that dartboard up, Hannibal. Please don't clutter the place, darlings. Let's make a good first impression.
Will we meet her now?
I don't know.
We haven't had anyone exciting here since that magician's wife. She was all nerves from being sawed in half so much. What was her name?
Something hyphenated.
I forget, but she had color. All my relations are so drab. Both my parents were albinos.
Really, Fairy, you shouldn't invent such things.
Well, they were. Emotionally albino.
Oh, Fairy, don't peek. It's so degrading.
You get on your knees to pray, don't you? I'll say a prayer. Dear God, let me see something.
See anything?
Yes. Not as quick.
What is it?
Someone's coming out of Dr. Emmett's office.
Who?
1, 2, 3 strange people. They're coming in here. Let's hide your hall and eavesdrop.
Is that ethical, Jeff?
Oh, you know what we sent out anyhow.
We could call it espionage.
Come, Miss Patty, we're going to spy.
I'll burn the light switch. It's rude when I get into a dark room.
This is the last time I'll be a party to peeking, Fairy. Kneeling simply ruins my nylons.
I mustn't get excited or I'll get hiccups in the trance.
Dr. Emmett will join you in a moment.
Please tell him that there's nothing more. We'd like to get started back.
Yes, Senator Savage. Please make yourselves at home.
Well, what do you think of it now, Titus? Are you reassured?
Somewhat. It certainly doesn't look like an institution.
Not at all.
Mother will be contented and happy here, I'm sure. It's a charming place.
I just don't like to be thought insensitive. It might have been wiser to have her at home with attendance.
That would have been disastrous.
You're hard.
Someone has to be practical.
No, you're just calloused. You married too many foreigners.
Samuel, darling, we've done what had to be done. Let's not quarrel about it, please.
Lilybell is right. This is civilized behavior.
Sorry to have delayed you. We were anxious to question your mother.
This is quite a place you have here, Doctor. It's been a great relief for us to have found it so cheerful.
But then we were assured that your place offered the best that money could buy.
We hope to offer the best that experience can provide.
One thing I meant to ask you, Doctor. Will Mother be exposed to any danger here?
Not at all. The patients in this ward are in their final stages of treatment. They're kind and cooperative. On the surface, they're as normal as, say, yourself, Senator.
You don't say.
While we're here, Senator, I have a few questions to ask about this memorial fund of your mother's.
There's little more to tell. She planned on using it to give away the entire Savage estate.
The newspapers called it her happiness fund.
Was this indifference to money something recent?
I'd hardly say so.
She's always given money to foolish causes.
Would you mind being more specific?
Well, there was that Italian farmer who wanted a box of soil from Italy.
Just dirt.
Mother spent $200 to get it for him.
And a flower peddler wanted a tombstone for his horse.
He got it.
After father died, this obsession got progressively worse. Last summer, she chartered a ship to send 1,000 school children around the world. Why?
She said they ought to go around the world while there was still a world around.
We stopped her just as she was on the verge of setting up this fund illegally.
With a board of directors.
Fantastic board of directors. Not a banker, a bishop, or a lawyer among them.
Whom did she choose?
A postman, a gardener, a veterinarian, and, of course, herself.
You should have known her mind was going to the day she decided to take to the stage.
That. Have you ever heard of such a case before, Doctor? What would make a woman of her age suddenly decide to become an actress?
The uniquest routine here, Senator.
Nothing surprises us. If she'd been talented or even vain, I could have understood it.
She wasn't. She was always quiet and timid, and suddenly this amazing change.
Grief did it.
Why turn to acting? Life has enough drama in it as it stands.
Ugh, God knows.
Well, isn't that right, Doctor?
As Judge Savage says, God knows.
And I do wish you could explain that bear to us.
Obvious exhibitionism. Ugh. She took a childish delight being seen everywhere with that teddy bear.
Anything to indulge this sudden love for notoriety.
Her entire conduct was a travesty of dignity and self-respect.
And sound business.
Can you tell me, Senator, has there ever been a similar pattern of behavior in your mother's family?
Frankly, I don't know.
You see, doctors, she's not actually our mother. Father remarried when we were children. Oh.
But it's never made any difference in our feeling toward her.
Well, I'm afraid we can't be much of help until we've fully observed her conduct here.
You're the doctor.
And we're sure she'll be comfortable in such a charming place.
You know, I wouldn't mind staying here myself.
Samuel, this is no place for laughter.
Oh, but Senator, we encourage laughter here. We think it's healthy.
You do.
Of course. It's good therapy. For as Byron says, and if I laugh at any mortal thing, 'tis then I may not weep.
Of course. Of course.
Yes, Miss Lily?
Thank you, pardon, Dr. Emmett, but Dr. Johnson won't be able to complete Mrs. Savage's file for a moment.
Why not?
She finds her a little uncooperative.
Very well, bring her in.
Yes, Doctor.
While she's outside, I better have a talk with Dr. Johnson.
Oh, please don't go, doctor.
Ugh, please, doctors.
We'd prefer you stayed. I think the shorter we make this, the better for all involved.
She's vindictive.
For some reason, doctor, she seems to hold me responsible.
We need to give her a little bit more time to get over her resentment.
Will you come in here, please, Mrs. Savage?
Will you sit down, Mrs. Savage?
We waited to say goodbye to you, Mother.
I do not like thee, Lily Bell. The reasons why I cannot tell, but this I know and know full well. I do not like thee, Lily Bell.
She's been chanting that all the way here. Mrs. Savage, your children are leaving. Wouldn't you like to say goodbye to them? They'd like to say goodbye to you.
Oh, the fireflies are out. How lovely. Do you know why the fireflies light up, Doctor? Are they mating?
I really couldn't say.
Oh, I thought you'd know. Isn't this a bug house?
This is the cloisters. This is your new home. I'm Dr. Emmett, and this is Dr. Johnson.
Wouldn't it be fascinating if human beings lit up while they were mating? Do you light up when you're mating, Lily Bell? Lord knows you're flighty.
Might as well go, Titus. She's going to be unpleasant again.
Surely, Mother, you're not going to let us depart in an atmosphere of bitterness.
50 needles and 50 pins and 50 dirty politicians.
She's determined to take the wrong attitude.
Ugh, it's futile.
Well, time will take care of it. Come, Samuel.
We'll send more of her clothes down later, doctors. We couldn't pack with one room under the circumstances.
Well, Sunday is Visitor's Day, if you care to bring them down then.
My sister's returning to Paris next week, but We'll make arrangements. Good night, Mother.
Mrs. Savage, if there's anything you need, Miss Wilhelmina will take care of you.
There's a lovely garden out there. You'll be able to see it in the morning. You know, when I was a child, we always said 30 needles and 30 pins. We've added 20 more to be politicians.
It's a fault of mine. Exaggeration. It's stupid of me to try to irritate them like this. I just irritate myself. Well, I suppose it has to be exasperating now to be funny later.
I noticed one of its eyes is gone. It must have dropped off in the office. I'll look as soon as they go.
Oh, don't bother. It fell out last fall at the opera. I'd have found it, but the usher was so nasty about my lighting matches during the magic fire meter. You know what this is, don't you?
Suppose you tell me.
It's a teddy bear. Surely you've seen one before.
Not that big.
Do you know what I do with it?
I couldn't possibly guess.
I sleep with it.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Are you going to talk to me as if I were an imbecile?
Oh, here, you mustn't be hostile.
No, you haven't harmed me. Do you care to know why I sleep with it?
If you care to tell me.
I don't care, and I'll tell you. I get lonely. I'm too old to have a lover and too fastidious to sleep with a cat.
Then by all means, you must come into bed with you here. Would you care to take off your hat?
Well, if I'm going to spend the rest of my life here, I might as well.
It's a mighty saucy hat.
A 10-cent piece of felt and 3 chicken feathers. $85. Why economy should be so expensive, I don't know.
It takes imagination.
And the blood of pirates. But I wanted this hat since I was 16 years old. For all the good it does me now.
Well, you better keep it. You might need it.
Oh dear, my hair feels like the matted end of a coconut.
Oh, I don't think so. It's a heavenly color.
You think so? Huh. You should have seen it last year. It was bright red. Then, just to be different, I dyed it all black with a white streak down the middle. I looked like nothing so much as a skunk. Finally, I gave up and tinted it blue. It goes with everything.
Well, it'll certainly go with your room. Wouldn't you like to go up and get settled?
Is it time to lock me up?
I wouldn't dream of locking you up. Did you bring a suitcase?
My daughter did. I wasn't consulted.
I'll get it and take you up. You can wait here.
Alone?
Of course.
No handcuffs?
We have the honor system.
Bars. Honor system indeed.
Hello.
Miss Willie says that the bars are only there to keep the world outside.
Corny, isn't it? It's alive!
Really, Fairy, you must stop frightening yourself.
The poor thing is quite harmless.
It won't bite.
It won't bark, lay eggs, or shed, and, to the best of my knowledge, is unvexed by sex. It couldn't be less trouble.
Well, in that case, any friend of yours is a friend of mine.
Perhaps we should introduce ourselves. You must be Mrs. Savage. I'm Florence Williams.
How do you do, Florence?
We've been looking forward to meeting you. It's a pleasure to have you with us. May I introduce Fairy May?
Say you love me.
But we just met.
You don't have to mean it. I feel wonderful when people say they love me.
I'm sure everyone loves you.
You see, I told you she wouldn't be spoiled. Welcome to the cloisters. Climate best by government test.
Thank you.
And this is Hannibal. This is our Miss Patty.
How do you do, Mrs. Patty?
I hate everything in the world. But most of all, I hate lightning, skunk cabbage, custard, mustard, spiders, blisters, girdles, mice, bees, keys, chloroform, rhubarb, bats, broken glass, crumbs, drunks, eels, tombstones, gallstones, salt, and thunder.
Why don't you
Mrs. Patty won't answer you, Mrs. Savage. She'll only recite the things that she hates.
Sweet but stubborn.
Mrs. Patty stopped talking about 20 years ago.
Oh, why?
Her husband told her to shut up.
And she did.
She gave up conversation for life.
But she's only giving up electricity for Lent.
Well, you're a woman of wisdom, Mrs. Patty. There's only one thing wiser than saying very little, and that's saying nothing at all. Would you like to hold him?
She likes you.
I like her.
Oh, you haven't met Jeff. Come on, Jeff.
Please excuse my left hand.
Certainly. Is it a toothache?
Oh, Jeff's face is scarred and he likes to spare people.
Well, you needn't spare me. I have to look at myself in the mirror every morning.
Dr. Emmett refuses to let me wear a bandage.
Oh, well, we have to humor our doctors once in a while.
And now you've met everyone here at the Cloisters. We're a small bunch, but we hope you find us pleasant to be with.
Well, Mrs. Savage hasn't met everyone. She hasn't met the Holy Terror.
Oh, how stupid of me. Where is he, Florence?
Well, he was here a few moments ago. John Thomas!
You might have gone out into the hall.
I'll see. John Thomas!
You won't hurt her, will you?
Gracious, why should I?
You won't object, will you?
Well, what is John Thomas?
Her son. What did you expect?
Here?
Oh, yes, he was born here.
I can't. Oh, asleep on the floor. My husband warned me I'd be a bad mother. Mrs. Savage, this is my son.
You like children, don't you?
Everyone's but my own. How old is he?
5.
He's big for 5 months.
No, 5 years.
I meant 5 years.
Will you excuse me now? I have to put him to bed. He has the measles. I do hope you don't catch them. Excuse me.
That was exceedingly kind of you, Mrs. Savage, not to notice anything wrong.
It wasn't time to explain, but you were like lightning.
Dear Florence isn't well, and, well, we contend for her sake. And we hope you will also.
I will.
I think you should understand, Mrs. Savage, that aside from Florence, we're all free to leave whenever we want to.
But we don't, because there's no better place to go.
You're a very lucky woman to be accepted here, Mrs. Savage, if I do say so myself. And I do. Oh, do be still.
Tyrant.
What is that?
That rude noise is a signal for us to go to our rooms.
It's the evil of the machine age. Perfect pistons and no manners.
Well, ours not the reason why. I wonder why no one ever quotes the first line. It's someone blundered.
Good night.
I didn't hear you. We don't say that. It means there's no more.
No more what?
Oh, there's no more of so much.
Do excuse Jeff. He was shot down during the war. He hasn't fully recovered.
Oh, was his face badly burned?
Well, no. Jeff bailed out. But he was the only one. And his scar goes deeper than we can see.
Surely you've guessed by now that Hannibal and I are the only guests here free to leave. We couldn't tell you that in front of the others. We pretend to save their pride. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Patty. I didn't realize you were still here. I didn't mean you anyhow. Oh, I can tear my tongue out. Will you excuse me? If I don't apologize, she'll sulk.
Barry has the gift of the good for saying the wrong thing.
I should think it would take a bit of doing to apologize to someone who doesn't talk and sulks anyhow.
You'll get used to Miss Patty. Just treat her like a clock. Look at her, and you'll see how the day is going. Just don't expect an answer. She's happy at her easel.
Is she an artist?
I don't know, but she paints
Portraits?
seascapes, which is rather odd because she's never seen the ocean.
I forgot to warn you, Mrs. Savage. Stay awake. If you do go to your room, don't sleep.
What did she mean by not sleeping?
Well, none of us sleep here.
Where do you sleep?
Oh, we don't. You see, when you go to sleep, today ends and tomorrow begins. Today, we're safe, but tomorrow could be filled with disaster. So, you won't catch us sleeping. Could anything be simpler?
Not much.
It's the perfect system.
Hannibal, you heard the buzzer. Why aren't you in your room?
Well, I am in spirit, and everyone says it's the spirit that counts. Remember, like tonight.
Did they all come in to meet you?
Well, there was a Mrs. Patty and 4 others who have no business being here at their age.
I quite agree.
Do you think I belong here?
We're understaffed, Mrs. Savage. I'm kept far too busy to have any opinions.
I'd like to know what they told you about me.
Was there anything to tell?
Did they mention my memorial fund?
Not to me.
Then they probably said that my husband's death affected my reason,
That would be understandable.
but untrue.
Why? Weren't you happy with your husband?
I married my husband when I was 16 years old. I loved him from the moment I met him until the moment he died. Do you know what that meant?
I think so.
You don't, my dear. It meant that my only aim in life was to make him happy, and that meant that all the other things I ever wanted had to be forgotten.
But surely you had no regrets.
None while he lived, but after he was gone, I remembered all of the foolish things that I'd always wanted to do.
What had you always wanted to do?
Things that would have shocked poor Jonathan.
Such as dyeing your hair blue?
That, and studying French and ballet dancing. As a girl, I was sure I could have been a great actress. So with no responsibilities and time running out, I decided to be one.
But don't you think you waited too long, Mrs. Savage?
I certainly do. Why, if I'd been a fool in my youth, no one would have noticed in my old age.
Oh, I'd never given you as old, Mrs. Savage.
Well, having kicked over the traces myself and learned once again the importance of unimportant things, I decided I'd help others have the foolish things that they'd always wanted.
How were you going to do that?
By establishing the Jonathan Savage Memorial Fund, a foundation in memory of giving away money for my husband. And that insane idea has brought me here.
Well, you won't find it too unpleasant here. Shall we go up to your room now?
Well, at least I learned one thing from my French lessons.
What's that?
What I am. I'm a mort canard. That's a dead duck, I think.
No, it's not as bad as that.
Yes, it is. One day you will realize that a great injustice was done me. You'll know that I was always quite sane. But here I am, and here they'll try to keep me with a few foolish years taken from me. Why, if people would walk around the edge of the carpet once in a while, it would save wearing out in the middle.
Beautiful, beautiful, Hannibal. You bring melody to the morning. What would we do without you?
You could be in the concert field, Hannibal. If you worked at it.
You're so right, Jeff. Golden fingertips, I simply surrender to it. I'm a rat.
Oh, do come in, Mrs. Savage.
I trust you had a pleasant sleepless night.
Lovely, thank you, not a wink.
You just missed Hannibal's recital.
Oh, I heard it. As a matter of fact, it's what brought me from my room.
You wouldn't believe it, Mrs. Savage, but Hannibal never even touched the violin until last year.
don't quite follow that, Fairy.
Oh, Fairy knows that I used to be a statistician.
Oh, thank you, now I'm straight.
Give him a fraction to multiply.
I'm afraid I wouldn't know whether he was right or not.
My last position was with the government charting trends. I kept my finger on the pulse of the public and my ear to the ground.
A rather vulnerable position, was it not?
Very. I was replaced with an electric calculator.
I should think you'd hate electricity, too.
No, but I did want to make money with my intellect, so I spent the next 3 years trying to devise something that could be made for a dime, sold for $1, and was addicting. I'm afraid my intelligence has gone to waste.
I'm going to send John Thomas to Princeton. Their boys aren't very bright, but they're such gentlemen.
That reminds me. May we ask you a personal question, Mrs. Savage?
They're the only ones worth asking, my dear.
A little bird told us that you used to be an actress and reversed you with curiosity. Is it true?
Well, if being on the stage makes one an actress, then I guess it's true.
Miss Willie, she's the bird Florence mentioned, told us that you'd been on the New York stage.
I wonder if we've ever seen you, Mrs. Savage.
Not unless you were quick. Actually, I was only in 2 plays. The first was Macbeth.
I adore Macbeth. All that blood. I sent a pint of my blood to the Red Cross once. They sent it back.
I should trust you would have been a novel departure as Lady Macbeth.
I can't tell you how much I agree with you, but they cast me as a witch.
But you're a perfect witch.
Thank you.
Please speak some witch talk for us.
I hadn't any lines. If I did, it probably would have cost me twice as much.
Why did it cost you anything?
I backed the show. If I hadn't put up the money, I couldn't have played even a mute witch.
What a pity. Weren't you discouraged?
No, not at all. We ran well.
Was it expensive?
Extremely, but worth it. It's the first show that closed before the reviews were out.
Weren't you discouraged?
Not at all. Man is by nature optimistic. If he weren't, he'd eat his young. So I decided I'd write a play and star myself.
You wrote a play?
I did indeed, with a courage born of ignorance and a plot out of wedlock.
What part did you play?
Naturally, the lead. Not guilty. Starring Ethel P. Savage.
What does the P stand for?
I haven't the faintest idea. My numerologist said I needed it in my name for luck. He was right, we ran a year.
What was the play about?
A mother who murdered a man and was defended by a young woman lawyer. I died in my daughter's arms every night, just as the curtain came down and the jury whispered, not guilty. Oh, I've never had a better time in my life.
I trust the reviews were good at that time.
Well, they were sincere.
What did they say?
The New York Times said that my play set the theater back 50 years. It couldn't possibly, because I stole the plot from Madame X, and that's only 40 years old.
Wouldn't you think they'd know?
But the Wall Street Journal was wonderful. It said I had brought something new to the theater.
Money.
Really, Fairy? Money isn't new.
What did Wall Street say?
It said I had a tenacious mediocrity unhampered by taste.
But that isn't good.
It was perfect. In our ads, we simply said tenacious and unhampered.
And you ran a year?
We'd be running yet if my daughter hadn't come home and stopped me. Oh, I knew we were bad and audiences only came to laugh at us, but we had fun. What more can you ask? Oh, I do miss it. Oh well, my turn is coming.
I don't think that was very nice of your daughter.
Oh no, please don't do that!
Fairy, what is wrong?
Mrs. Savage is going to read the newspaper.
Oh,
I wouldn't do that if I were you, Mrs. Savage.
no. Please, give it to me. Please, Mrs. Savage.
You mustn't read it.
What's the matter?
Don't read the paper, Mrs. Savage.
Why? Now, just a moment. I know what the paper is going to say, so there's nothing you can hide from me. I've just been waiting for it to happen.
Waiting for what to happen, Mrs. Savage?
Why, what it says in the paper.
But we don't know what it says in the paper.
Then why were you trying to keep me from seeing it?
We have an agreement.
We never read the papers until they're a month old.
We find we're much happier when we wait.
Yes, what are you waiting for?
Why, naturally we wait for. What do we wait for, Hannibal?
Perspective.
Peace of mind.
Security.
We believe it's easier to speak about unpleasant things a month after they've happened.
It's reassuring to know that it's all over and nothing can be done.
My dear people, there is something important in the paper that I want to know about, and I'd like to know now, not next month.
We're only trying to help you.
Yeah.
Disaster is easier to digest when it's aged a little.
You're very kind, but I've made my bed, and I want to know who's in it.
We can't stop Mrs. Savage from reading the newspaper if she insists. We don't know her well enough to be rude.
Oh, Florence is right.
Well, you read anything unpleasant, don't tell us.
If there's trouble in the world, it won't help us to know about it.
Oh, this is yesterday's paper. I want today's paper.
Oh, well that hasn't come yet.
When does it come?
I don't know.
Do you have a radio here?
Yes, it's right over there.
Good, maybe I can catch the news. Why didn't anyone tell me there was a radio here?
You didn't ask us.
This doesn't light up. Is there something wrong with the set?
I don't think so. Of course, it hasn't any tubes.
It hasn't any what?
Tubes. Mrs. Patty steals them. She hates electricity, you know.
No one knows what she hides them.
Oh dear, dear. Oh. How high is that wall?
Much too high.
It's easily 10 chairs high.
And I suppose no one ever leaves that great gate open?
Oh, don't look beyond the garden, Mrs. Savage. There may be a better place somewhere, but if you give this up to search for it, you may never find it and lose what you have.
You'll get used to it here, eventually.
Except in January, the rooms get a little cold.
We like you already.
It's not that I don't find you enchanting, but you.
But we what?
Please don't say anything mean.
We have to go, Mrs. Savage.
But where?
It's garden hour.
We each have a little plot and we plant things. You can plant anything you like, vegetables or flowers.
Last year I planted birdseed to see what would come up.
What did come up, Fairy?
Nothing. But it was a rich horticultural experience.
In the middle, there's even a great evergreen. At Christmas time, it has lights on it that say, Merry Christmas. Keep out.
Do come with us, Mrs. Savage. I'll show you my delphiniums.
No, thank you. You go ahead. I have some serious thinking to do.
But the buzzer buzzed. One has to obey orders.
Might I ask what you're doing, Mrs. Savage?
Oh, I believe in wearing a carpet out evenly.
How prudent. I'm going to help you.
Oh, but don't you have to garden?
This is more constructive.
I'll help too. We all must do our share.
But I didn't mean to start a procession.
Come, boys, many feet make light work.
Well, this is a refreshing change. Usually ladies lead us round in circles.
Go ahead, Mrs. Savage. We're all behind you.
I feel like a Pied Piper.
Hannibal, you step on leaves. Jeff can take buds. Mrs. Savage can have roses, and the rest of us will walk on thorns. Do you know what we're doing, Miss Willie?
Clearing out the carpet evenly.
Huh, someone told you.
Didn't I hear the buzzer ring garden hour?
I didn't hear it. I think it's broken.
Oh, Fairy, aren't you ashamed?
Oh, I wish I were dead.
It's not your fault. I'm the culprit.
I didn't feel like gardening anyhow.
But you worked so hard on your flowers. Do you want them to die, Florence?
I don't want anything to die.
She's so right. Florence wouldn't hurt a fly. She catches them and puts them out the window. Flies adore her.
I think we all better go out and work in the garden. Fairy, share your seeds with Mrs. Savage. Hurry along now. Aren't you going with them, Mrs. Savage?
I wanted to talk to you alone.
All right, what can I do for you?
A great deal. And it might be that I can do a great deal for you.
Are you about to offer me a bribe, Mrs. Savage?
How did you guess?
Everyone does at first.
Still, my offer is a little different. I have the money. I'll give you $20,000 to leave that door open tonight. $30,000.
Don't you like us, Mrs. Savage?
That is a most irritating answer to a sound business offer, my dear. $40,000. You could be free of this place.
But I don't want to be free of it.
$50,000. You could travel the world, see Cairo, Mandalay, the South Pacific.
But I've been to Cairo. I've seen Mandalay and the South Pacific.
You have?
I had 4 years as an army nurse.
Still, you should be able to use $50,000.
Now, where would you get $50,000, Mrs. Savage? That's a fortune.
Never mind, I can get it. And in the current idiom, 50,000 is peanuts.
Oh, I believe you, but I'm afraid I have to refuse.
And you leave me no choice but to burn the place down.
Oh, you wouldn't do that.
Oh, yes I would.
Too many people here wouldn't know how to save themselves. You think of them first.
If you think I belong here, then why are you trying to appeal to my reason?
I wasn't. I was appealing to your emotions.
Well, I'll get out of here eventually. It's just that bribing me would have been cheaper. Now I'll have to spend a couple million at least.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning. Is Miss Savage downstairs?
She just this minute went out to the garden.
What is her state of mind this morning?
The usual pattern. She's already offered me a bribe.
How much?
50,000. The poor dear.
Did she sound confident?
Definitely manic. She talked as if she still controlled her own affairs.
Apparently she does. Read this. I've just been talking with her stepchildren. They're practically out of their minds themselves. The senator is picking up his sister and brother from Washington and will be here by tonight.
This is the most amazing story I've ever read. When did they discover it?
I take it this morning. They asked me to confine her to her room.
I don't understand it. How could she get away with so much money?
Apparently her husband gave the estate to her. She's been secretly selling out control ever since.
$10 million? That's a typographical error, isn't it?
No, they had it all right.
But what could she have done with it?
As Judge Savage says, God knows.
Could she have spent it?
I doubt it. Will you go get her? I better tell her what to expect.
Yes, Doctor.
Dr. Emmett,
Dr. Johnson.
are you going to place Mrs. Savage in seclusion?
Of course not. But sometimes I wish there was a way of placing relations in seclusion. They're much more harder to handle than patients.
Definitely. Do you think she knows what happened to the money?
If she does, she's the only one.
Is there any possibility of other than her madness?
She'll be right in.
I find it harder every day to find where reason ends and madness begins. But at the moment, we must accept the presumptive evidence of her stepchildren.
Well, from what I've heard, her son's record in Congress would give any good psychiatrist a nasty turn.
Definitely would. And her daughter's 6 divorces doesn't speak well for her emotional stability either.
You wanted me, Doctor?
Yes, good morning. Will you help Miriam out with the switchboards? She's been deluged with calls from the newspaper this morning.
Yes, Doctor.
Please sit down, Mrs. Savage.
I think I know what you're going to tell me.
Do you?
I see you have this morning's papers. I was wondering how long it would take you to find out.
So you're aware of what you've done.
And the consequences?
Oh, it's too early for consequences. May I see it?
The senator phoned from Washington this morning. You can expect them by tonight.
Indeed we can.
How could you possibly spend $10 million without someone knowing about it?
Who says I spent it?
The paper says you did.
Oh, what do they know? I didn't spend it. I couldn't. I hid it.
You hid it?
Yes, in neat $500,000 negotiable bonds that can't be traced.
Why?
I don't ask what you do with your money, Doctor.
Well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Savage, but I'm afraid this hidden treasure of yours will prove to be quite the great disadvantage.
That's because you're a doctor, and doctors never know the value of money.
Mrs. Savage, would you like to know how long it would take me to earn $10 million? How long?
Oh, terribly sorry. Mary May wanted some music while she planted her seeds.
Oh, one moment, Emmett. You're a statistician. How long would it take the average doctor to earn $10 million?
Well, he actually started around the birth of Christ and worked up through the burnings of Rome and the Savonarola. We have time out for the Norman Conquest, 30 years war and 7 years war, so we'd have to work double time through the discovery of penicillin and bubblegum. And that's not factoring in income tax, luxury tax, state tax, federal tax, and income tax. You'd add about 100 years for that.
Thank you, Hannibal.
It's a great deal to be responsible for, Mrs. Savage.
So, what are the good doctors up to?
A bit of emotional blackmail, I suspect. Say, Hannibal, would you think to look at me that I'm worth $10 million on the whole?
Of course not. The human body only contains about 50 cents worth of calcium, 20 cents worth of potassium, and even at present high prices, only about 2 or 3 cents of iodine. No one is ever really worth over $1.50.
So you only value me at $1.50?
Well, of course not. You said worth. Your value is inestimable.
Hannibal, I like you. You make me feel important. You make me feel like dancing.
What shall I play?
Anything.
I am quite good on the flight of the bumblebee.
Oh, how appropriate. The bees come home and find the honey gone. Someone is going to be stung. Play, Hannibal.
Is it interesting?
Very.
I'm not disturbing you, am I?
Now, what makes you think that? What's the matter, Fairy May?
Nothing. It's just, no one has said they loved me this livelong day.
Why, yes, they have, Fairy.
Oh, no, they haven't. I've been waiting.
I heard Florence say it at the dinner table.
Did she?
Did I? Yes. She said, don't eat too fast, Fairy.
Was that saying she loved me?
Of course. There are hundreds of ways of wording it. Why people say they love you when they say, take an umbrella, it's raining, or hurry back, or even, watch out or you'll break your neck. Why, the first time I met my husband, we were horseback riding, and he said I had a good seat. I knew immediately he loved me.
My dentist said I had perfect occlusion. Do you think he was saying he loved me?
What else?
I've been missing so much. My dentist loves me.
Now, what else can I clear up for you, my dear?
Nothing. Sorry I disturbed you. Thank you and forgive me.
Mrs. Savage,
Yes?
I'm keeping score and the boys won't help me. What's 7 and 5 and 4?
Mrs. Savage, that's...
It's my own system, Hannibal. I refuse to submit to the tyranny of mathematics.
And I win.
And I'm keeping score next time.
Mrs. Savage,
Yes?
there is one thing you can clear up for me.
What's that?
Why is it suddenly Sunday again when it was Sunday only yesterday?
Why do you think it's Sunday?
Well, if your children are here, then it must be Sunday because that's Visitor's Day. I guess I had an awfully good time this week.
It isn't Sunday, Fairy. My brood are coming back because they couldn't wait a week.
Well, that should make you happy.
It should, but it doesn't.
Excuse me, don't you like them?
Not at all.
Oh, I think that's a wicked thing to say.
Oh, well, we have to be wicked once in a while to get God's attention. But if it consoles you, Florence, they were not mine. My husband was left with 3 small children.
But you must have liked them when they were little.
Oh, I wanted to make them my own desperately, but they always resented me. Why, the first time I put my arms around Lilybell, she bit me, and she bit me every day until she was 10.
That must have made you very high-strung.
What's about her at the exact age of 10?
Well, I suppose at 10 a girl begins to consider her teeth.
But the boys are always so much better.
Not always. They've been spoiled by me. So whenever I tried to correct them, they broke something I treasured. It was a happy day when they went away to school.
School must have taught them something.
Yes, French. After that, whenever they came home, they spoke nothing but French. So I couldn't understand them. And I haven't understood them since.
But you must be proud of them. Now, the senator's quite famous, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Make no mistake. I'm told he receives more threatening telegrams than any other man in Congress. I believe Western Union lists him as a tangible asset.
If he's so unpopular, why do the people keep sending him back to Washington?
They're no fools. It's the only way to keep him out of the state.
The other son's a judge, isn't he?
That's a distinction.
He's made it one. He has the distinction of having had more of his decisions reversed than any other man in jurisprudence.
Is the daughter pretty?
Well, there's a picture of her in the paper. I'll show it to you.
Oh, don't read us anything out of the paper, please.
I won't. I'll just show you her picture.
We don't look at the pictures either.
People are always pinned under trucks.
I'll look first to make sure it isn't horrible. She's a queen. She's wearing a crown.
Oh, a queen?
It's a tiara, Fairy. It's an old picture from when she was married to her Slavic prince.
Let's take a quick look, Hannibal, just to be polite.
Then she's a princess.
No, she discarded the prince a good 6 husbands ago.
Oh, but why?
Hell hath no music like a woman playing second fiddle.
I don't know when I've seen a prettier tiara.
That dress has got rather low, isn't it?
I don't like her. Let's do something mean to her.
Why, Fairy?
Oh, I don't mean really mean. Something like putting her picture up on the dartboard and throwing darts at it.
Fairy, you're an evil girl to think up such a thing.
Don't you talk to me like that. I'm sensitive.
My dear, you're a sweet child. That's exactly what we'll do. You wouldn't. I need the exercise. Now, does anyone have something to pin this up with?
Mrs. Patty has some thumbtacks.
Oh, Fairy, I'm so disappointed in you.
I wish I'd died in my cradle.
Why, Mrs. Patty, that's the most beautiful seascape I've ever seen. Why, do you know, I can actually smell the ocean. I think your genius lies in your simplicity. You challenge the imagination. May I borrow 4 thumbtacks? Thank you.
Oh, this is setting a very bad example for motherhood.
Oh, stop worrying, Florence. Don't you like surprises?
Yes.
Well, I aim to surprise Lilybell. I'll tee off. Target for tonight.
tiara. Oh, something dreadful is going to happen, I know.
Everybody to the upstairs study. Mrs. Savage's visitors are here.
May I stay, Miss Willie? I never meet strangers anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry, Carrie. The senator insisted on privacy. Hurry now, everybody out.
Someday when I'm ordered out, I'll go out without saying a word. I have as much pride as anyone.
All the way upstairs now.
How's the weather out there?
Stormy. Here are your visitors, Mrs. Savage.
That will be all. You can wait outside.
I'll leave the latch off the door and wait at the hall desk.
I don't know what to say to you, Mother. For the life of me, I don't know what to say.
Polite people say, good evening.
Such is so unlike you.
I'm not angry. I'm just hurt.
The faintest idea of the enormity of what you've just done. You've sold control of 15 savage industries.
We'll have to sell our stock in savage brass to buy it back.
Oh, didn't you hear? I sold that first.
I mustn't get excited. I get mine.
What else did you dispose of?
Everything in my name.
We're ruined.
Where is the money? You could have spent it.
Tell us what you did with it, dear.
I converted it into a neat little bundle of negotiable bonds and buried it.
Wait, when you say buried, you of course mean hid it.
I mean buried as in funeral.
In the ground?
I feel physically ill.
Where are they buried?
I forget.
Lord, grant my mother one moment of clarity.
Tell us what you did with it, dear. Come on. Concentrate.
Best thing in the world to take lines out of the face, Lilybell. I've got to do something about getting you a new eye. Do you know any place that sells bear's eyes, Lilybell?
Give me that stupid thing and answer us.
Miss Willie! Help!
Lilybell! Wait, you're just antagonizing her. We won't get anywhere shouting.
Fine. Hold your bear. We forget that you're sick.
Well, we must make you understand, Mother, the money involved is not what concerns us. So much the disgrace of this. What happened?
She bit me!
Nonsense. Whatever a mother might do, she would never dissent.
Oh, it was a wasp.
Ever there was a wasp, it is that woman that we call mother! I know when I'm bitten.
There's really no need to raise your voice.
Does it hurt?
Of course it hurts!
Lilybell! Stop shouting. We won't get anywhere fighting amongst ourselves. We can't afford it.
You can't afford anything.
We simply refuse to be angry with you, Mother. Lilybell, apologize.
I will not.
Lilybell!
Fine. I don't object to your biting me. Mangle me to the bone. Gum me to your heart's content. Only tell me what you did with our money.
My money, you've already had your share.
The estate is ours. It's been in the Savage family for generations.
8 generations.
It's unthinkable that you should be the first savage to be found wanting.
Found wanting what?
Ah, the savage pride. Oh, choose very carefully what I've got to say. The estate has always been a sacred trust. We have never considered ourselves possessors of the great fortune, but rather custodians of wealth.
Oh!
But now...
Look! I just asked you to look! She has been throwing darts at my picture!
What of it? That can't possibly hurt you.
It is a vicarious form of murdering someone! It's just the most vicious sort of voodoo magic known to science!
Titus the losing ground.
My patience is exhausted.
We have been fostered by a werewolf! Every savage son of us!
What have you done with that money?
I told you I buried it.
Where? Unless you tell us that once you're going to a public institution, I'll not tolerate this criminal waste.
Oh, you got me in such a state. My head is pounding. I can't remember a thing.
What do you mean you can't remember a thing? Of course you can.
I can't. My head is pounding.
You better be careful, Titus.
Can we get something for you?
Yes. The only thing that clears my head is those powders I used to take.
Where are
I'm not
them.
We'll get more.
Will you?
Of course.
Oh, here's the prescription number. It's from my druggist in Boston.
Oh, you mean drive all the way to Boston?
Where is everyone?
Are you ill?
We better get those powders and come back in the morning. We won't accomplish anything tonight.
Yes, I agree with you. You get the prescription filled.
Get it filled, Samuel. We get back and go straight to bed.
Are you prepared to tell us what you've done with those bonds in the morning?
Pound.
I'll tell the chauffeur we're ready.
No, wait, Samuel, don't. Where does it end? Doesn't matter. We'll be back first thing in the morning.
Pound.
Come, Lily Bell. Call Dr. M for a sedative.
Lily,
What do you mean by psst?
I have something important to tell you about the bonds. Close the door.
Well,
I want to tell you, and you alone, where I hid them.
what do you mean?
Titus and Samuel are fools, and if something happened to me overnight, the bonds would be lost.
It was Titus who wanted you here, not I. Where did you hide them?
Where would you hide $10 million if you didn't trust banks?
I don't know.
Under a rock?
Of course not.
In your mattress? Oh, well, of course, you're never far from your mattress, but what if you were and the house burned down?
Are you going to tell me or not?
Have you ever been to the Museum of Natural History?
No.
Very educational and fireproof.
Mother, please.
Do you know what's on the 3rd floor of the museum?
How could I?
The Department of Ichthyology.
What are you talking about?
Fish. In the last room on the 3rd floor, hanging from 2 wires, is a big, dusty porpoise.
Well,
I stuffed my bonds into that stuffed fish when no one was looking.
I don't believe you.
Name me a safer place.
Only a fool would do such a thing.
That's me.
So you can get a package of bonds instead of porpoise.
Easy. A razor blade and scotch tape.
How do I know you're telling the truth?
There's a simple way to find out.
You must think I'm very gullible. I have no intention of hunting inside a stuffed fish.
Are we to hold the car all night for you, Lily Bell? Samuel is honking.
Let him honk.
Dr. M will be moved in a few moments.
Titus,
Yes?
kiss me goodbye.
Lily Bell, I don't trust you.
That's ironical, because I trust you. I was just about to tell you where the bonds were hidden.
Surely, no, I never want you here. I listen to Lily Bell.
Will you get me out of here and let me alone?
You know I will.
Then I'll tell you. The bonds are in a tin box.
Where?
Do you remember when I went to Washington with a group from Actors Equity?
No.
Well, I do. It was National Ethel Week. We all had lunch with the First Lady. There was Ethel Barrymore, Ethel Merman, Ethel Waters, Ethel...
What are you talking about?
My bonds are buried in the President's hot house.
I don't believe you.
You didn't believe Pearl Harbor until you investigated.
Why would you choose such a public place with everybody in there?
Well, I'm not very bright.
I'm the only man who can't get to the White House.
You should agree with him more often.
How do I know you didn't just imagine this?
There's a simple way to find out. Dig.
No, I'm not falling into that trap. You didn't bury the bonds there.
In the corner, under the petunias.
Titus, unless you hurry, Samuel is going off without us.
I'm coming. I refuse to leave you.
We listened. We're horrible. We're quite ashamed.
We tried to sneak away, but we couldn't without making too much noise.
It's quite all right. It's no secret. If you read the papers, you know.
Did you really hide all that money?
I did indeed for my memorial fund.
And now you're giving it back. You're very generous for your size and weight.
There was.
That prescription was really a note saying to dig under the chimney.
Why did you hide it if you were just trying to tell me where it was?
Foolish I am, but not that foolish. Whatever's in the chimney, or under the president's petunias, or in that stuffed fish, I can assure you it is not my little bundle of bonds.
Then why did you say it was?
I wanted to see to what extent they'll go to make fools of themselves.
Well, nothing makes the truth seem so shabby as a magnificent lie. How splendid.
How do you know they'll believe you?
They want to believe me.
They might find it demeaning to go out digging.
But they will.
How can you be sure?
There are 5 things, or no, there are a million things a man won't do for $5, but there aren't 5 things a man won't do for $1 million. They'll dig.
But I am a professional.
Oh?
I made my debut at Town Hall a week before the war. Jeffrey Meredith. You see?
Why, it says you are brilliant, Jeff. Forgive me, I should have known. I want to hear you play. Keep going.
No, I don't like to be stared at.
Okay, I'll turn the other way and listen then.
I'd rather not. I'm not ready to face people yet. Please don't insist.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Thank you. Do you keep a secret?
About 10 minutes.
Dr. Emmett isn't a doctor at all.
What is he?
A patient, just like Mrs. Patty.
Oh, you think so?
For 5 years now, he's promised to give me a new face.
No, he's a doctor, Jeff. It says so on his office door. He wouldn't lie.
Do you believe a man is what he claims to be?
I'm a trusting soul. I try to believe the best in people.
Yeah, it's best to believe the worst. If you believe the worst, then the worst is only half bad at best, and the best is only as good as can be expected, so it's best to believe the worst.
You know, that's just obscure enough to be profound. What does it mean?
It's simple. When a man says he's wise, you say he's a fool. When he says he's a fool, you believe it.
But only a fool claims to be wise.
Exactly. This proves I'm right. Dr. Emmett is a fool. He claims he's a doctor. The war was over 5 years ago, and where's his miracle?
Some things take a long time to heal, Jeff.
I can't wait much longer. I'm getting old. I'll be 26 soon.
Oh, that's ancient. Why don't you forget your face and play anyhow? Don't condemn your audience before you give them a chance to be kind.
Look at me and then tell me an audience won't shudder at the sight of me. Look, see?
I see nothing to hide, Jeffrey.
Dr. Emmett told you what to say.
No, he didn't. I promise. But I'd trust him if I were you. Give him a little more time.
Alright. I'll give him 5 years more.
Fair enough.
Do you know something?
Not a thing. I'm amazed only by the magnitude of what I don't know.
I wouldn't tell this to anyone else.
Hannibal really can't play the violin.
No.
Yes.
Well, of course I'm tone deaf.
I'll tell you something else. The some of us wish I were.
Well, you're a sweet boy to pretend.
Poor Hannibal can't play. Yeah, he does. I really can, but I won't. Did you think that's funny?
Not very. Ah! There's a rat in the hall! A rat as big as a mouse! Climb up on the chair quickly, Mrs. Savage!
Mary, what am I going to do with you?
You've put me right out my coffee.
You know there's no rat in the hall.
Well, Mrs. Savage doesn't. She's bored, and I intend to make life exciting for her.
Thank you, Fairy. You'll be happy to know I just aged 50 years. That puts me well over the 100 mark.
Well, we must have a birthday party. I'll make candles.
You'll sit down quietly and drink your coffee.
Ooh, I ate too much.
You shouldn't exercise right after a meal, Hannibal.
Oh, I know. But if I wait, then my conscience won't needle me.
Are you sure there have been no calls or messages for me today?
Positive.
Then is it possible to send to the village to get tonight's newspaper?
Well, if you'll serve the coffee, I'll go ask Dr. Emmett.
Gladly.
Here you are, Bingo.
What is it, sir?
Oh, don't stand on your manners, Jeff. Miss Willie knows just how you like your coffee. I'll get my own.
Very well. Thank you.
You're annoying.
You single me out for attention, Miss Willie. It's not fair and makes me uncomfortable.
Jeff, I'm so tired tonight. I don't remember. You'll have to forgive me.
Of course, I forget to.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the best dressed of them all? Fairy who?
Cream in your coffee, Fairy?
Please. Do you think this dress does anything for me? I made it myself.
It's a sheer delight. Sugar?
5. There wasn't time to finish it. I put it together with pens.
Hannibal,
Oh, no, thank you.
would you like to know a more enjoyable way of exercising, Hannibal?
An enjoyable method of exercise has yet to be invented.
Well, I know of an improvement. All you need is a deck of cards.
I went to a fortune teller when I was 14. Everything he told me turned out wrong. I never believed in cards after that.
Fairy, fairy, fairy.
Throw them up in the air
Why?
to lose weight. Now all you have to do is pick them up again, one by one.
I like that. It's tiny.
I learned it in a beauty course.
Thank you, Mrs. Savage. It's a great improvement.
Wouldn't it be easier to pick them up sideways?
Much. Man was made all wrong. His stomach should be in back, so it's not in the way when he bends. His legs could fold backwards, not forwards. It would be much neater. And who put his nose in front? It only gets in the way when he kisses.
You're so right.
God must have been in a hurry.
Hannibal, what are we doing now?
We're losing weight!
That's wonderful. Would you mind postponing it for a little while? I would like to talk to Mrs. Savage. Will you all go upstairs to the study? Florence, please take the coffee with you.
Oh, I do hate having coffee upstairs. It's so middle class. Where is John Thomas?
I think you left him up on the photograph, Florence.
Oh, yes, he adores the classics.
Upstairs, downstairs, till I think I'll scream. May I stay, Dr. Emmett? No, you may not.
Miss Willie tells me you seem anxious to see tonight's papers. Why?
Habit.
Here they are. You'll be pleased to know you've caused a considerable amount of trouble again.
Have I? Oh, Titus, on the front page. Senator trapped in White House hothouse.
I've just been talking with him. He's exceedingly angry.
Well, imagine pulling up all those petunias. What will everyone think?
Because of this, your position has deteriorated considerably.
And my disposition has blossomed enormously. Anything about Samuel?
Yes. Here's the Boston Post.
Oh, poor Samuel. All of those bricks right on top of him. Jimmy collapses on the Boston Jurist. Now, for some people, it takes a ton of bricks, you know.
How could they have possibly believed you?
They should be committed, shouldn't they? Nothing about Lily Bell?
Your batting average for mischief is 100%, Mrs. Savage.
Ooh. Lily Bell, oh, Lily Bell. Female vandal invades museum, berserk heiress, bites police. Now they really are fools, aren't they, Robert?
What do you hope to gain, Mrs. Savage?
Better terms
For your freedom?
for my husband's memorial fund.
Your children believe that the funds can be put to better use.
Of course, they're all of them. Why, Lily Bell spent over $1 million on her 6 husbands. Titus and Samuel spent just as much to secure jobs to which they had no right. Is that better use?
They consider your memorial fund most unorthodox.
That's absurd. Why, there are plenty of charities for foolish people with a desperate need, and none for desperate people with a need to be foolish.
And what brought you to that conclusion?
My own life. Whatever we have, we never forget the things we never got. Why, it's possible that if Hannibal was given a violin when he wanted one, he wouldn't need one now.
That's quite possible.
And I want my husband to be remembered with warmth and gratitude for a few foolish dreams that came true. I will not give up my memorial to him.
I want to discuss this with you further, but at the moment you have visitors waiting.
I'll be right outside if you need me. How dare you make a fool of me? How dare you!
You tried to kill me. You knew that old Jimmy would fall down if I started pulling bricks out, didn't you?
Well, we're not a very bright family, are we?
You must be proud indeed to see the name of Savage held to ridicule again.
Did you dig, Titus?
8 FBI men jumped me, pushed my face in the dirt, thought I was planting a bomb.
Why didn't you tell the papers the truth? I did. Sleepwalking? Really?
You try to think of an excuse with 8 men on your chest.
She'd love the chance.
It was learned today that the senator's mother, Mrs. Ethel P. Savage, the actress, was recently committed for irresponsible action. Democratic leaders were quick to point out that this may explain the career of strange behavior in the senator. Do you realize this does me politically?
Makes you a mort canard. Dead duck. French, remember?
I'll never survive it. Never.
They treated me like a common criminal. I was fingerprinted.
Ooh, I meant to ask you, Lilybell, what's inside a stuffed fish?
Do you know what the papers call us now?
The Mad Savages.
How do you like it?
What happened to those bonds?
What happened to your dignity?
Where's my money?
Where is your self-respect?
May I ask just what you intend to do now?
Well, are you ready to listen to my terms, or would you rather dig in Grant's tomb?
We are prepared to compromise.
If you're willing to see things my way, then compromise is the right word.
We would be willing to consider effecting your release into the custody of someone else for a period of time. It would be better for us.
I'd be willing to grant her complete freedom if she give up acting, live a dignified life.
Freedom, as Titus can tell you, is the right to make the wrong choice.
What would we get?
That's what I like about you, Titus. No nonsense. You would each receive a reasonable yearly allowance.
How reasonable?
I shall be generous, but the bulk of the estate must be given away
trick on us. And where would we be then?
Where are you now?
We'll get it over with, Titus.
Very well. Write a retraction, Samuel.
I'm tired of having my decisions reversed.
When I'm released, I will keep my promise. But I warn you, don't have me followed.
Samuel, wait! I found the answer on the cover of this medical journal.
What are you talking about?
A way to avoid your compromise. But I have to speak to Dr. Emmett first.
No, wait, Lily Bell!
Are you going to sign that petition, Lilybell?
Titus, don't sign anything until I get back.
What? Was she bred?
God knows.
It's something to trick you. If you listen to her again, you'll end up without a cent.
What'll I do?
Finish it. She's got us into trouble enough.
And be quick. Your and Samuel's signature will be enough.
How many T's in commitment? 3.
2.
That doesn't look right.
Give it here.
No, give it back.
All it needs to say is that the commitment was ill-advised and request release. Will that satisfy?
It will when you sign it.
Sign it, sir.
What are you doing?
We are signing the petition, signed Lily Bell.
It isn't necessary.
You'll regret this.
Lily Bell, you know you've no right to act without consulting us first.
Oh, do be quiet. Read that.
Read what?
An article on sodium pentothal. Perhaps I'd better let Dr. Emmett explain. Would you tell them what sodium pentothal does, Doctor?
It's generally used in cases of shock. It removes the patient's inhibitions and makes them more susceptible to suggestion.
It's called the truth drug,
It's not quite accurate, however.
but under its influences, the patient answers truthfully. Isn't that so?
If they answer at all.
Now do you see? You want me, Doctor?
Yes, just a moment.
Dr. Emmett, get me some of this truth drug at once. Administer to my mother.
Haven't I any rights at all, Doctor?
Dr. Emmett, may I say something? Surely you're not going to listen to these people. It's a flagrant misuse of science.
Dr. Emmett, get my mother some of this truth drug at once.
Mrs. Savage, if we refuse, your guardians are within their legal rights to remove you from our authority. I'm confident they'll find the means of subjecting you to sodium pentothal elsewhere.
Then let someone else be responsible, Doctor.
$10 million hidden from use does no one any good, least of all you. It's an ever-present symptom of psychotic thinking. This is your chance to show that you have a rational decision. An intelligent mind recognizes defeat.
Well, let it be known that I was not brought to my knees by science. I will tell you where they are. They are.
Wait! We've come to the rescue. It's not too late.
Stand by you, Mrs. Savage.
And who are these people?
These are my friends.
Want you us to stay upstairs, Hannibal?
I want to protest, Doctor.
And what gives you the right to protest? Sir, this doesn't concern you.
I love you all for wanting to help me, but Dr. Emmett hasn't much choice, as you must have heard.
What are you going to do, Mrs. Savage?
Give them the bonds.
I think you've made the right decision.
Well, are you going to tell us where they are?
I'm going to show you. We are going to show you.
You'll hurt it.
Here's your treasure.
My God, she had them with her all the time.
Wait! What happened to the lights?
Mrs. Patty? Oh, Mrs. Patty's here.
Where are the lights? Someone turn the lights back on!
Better be calm. For God's sake, Titus, don't move. Someone might kill you.
Titus, strike a match!
a match?
Only it's going to pull anyone.
Oh, who is this?
Oh, it's me. Let go of me. Please calm down.
Are you all hearing me? Will someone turn those lights back on?
Sir, calm down.
Who turned the lights off?
One of our patients. Miss Patty?
Wait a minute. Where's Lilybell?
She's here.
My gracious, what are you doing down there?
Somebody pushed me.
Well, it wasn't me. I'm not near enough.
The bombs are gone! Where are they? What did you do with them?
I put them on the table. You saw me do it yourself.
And where are they?
Excuse me, Senator, but it seems to me that Miss Patty came in, turned off the lights, grabbed the bombs, and ran.
It's really fine, Mrs. Patty. Notify all guards to stop her before the bombs are destroyed. Oh, I can't bear it. I simply can't bear it. I'm going to pieces.
Here, This will help. This will help you. Would you like to try it?
What? This is simply a madhouse!
Patience, we will be back after a short 10-minute break. You may take this time to purchase a snack or drink from the snack bar. Bathrooms are to your right. Remember to wash your hands for hygiene.
Thank you for complying. Enjoy your stay at the Cloisters.
Yes, Miss Willie? Good. Good. Well, all the wards have been walked off. Staff have been alerted and Miss Willie is searching the basement.
Did you find that woman?
Not yet.
What Kevin's saying was all that good about it.
We're taking every possible precaution, sir.
That maniac has $10 million worth of negotiable bonds. If they're not found, they can't be replaced.
What will she do with them, Doctor?
Well, she'll probably eat them.
But we're soon to recover. It just may take some time.
Years, probably. We're right there within our grasp. Why didn't you stop her?
How can I know the lights are going out?
It's quite possible Mrs. Patty didn't take them at all.
Of course she did. No one else could have.
You could have.
Nonsense. Put a note standing 10 feet away from the table.
But she's mighty quick when it comes to money. Personally, I think she took them and stuffed them down her front. Heaven knows there's room.
Why are you sure?
You didn't take them, did you, Willie Bell?
Can't you see? She's trying to make us suspect one another.
Well, I suppose it could have been someone else. He was standing nearest the table when the lights went out.
He was right beside it.
Well, what have you got to say?
I didn't take them. I don't like bonds.
The Queen of Spades! Someone's gonna die.
These people here.
Time to get them out of here.
Wait, no. Nobody leaves until they're searched.
Everybody off with his clothes.
My glasses, too?
Very please. Mr. Savage, don't make this any harder than you already have.
For goodness sake, will someone do something about this man's tossing cards about? My nerves are on edge.
Hannibal, don't.
Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. I understand you have a lovely tiara. Do you sleep in it?
Oh, sit down, you unattractive creature. I've had quite enough.
I don't like you.
Mary, will you please sit down and be quiet while we wait?
Very well. Barry! Excuse me, I'm upset.
Mrs. Patty, you've got the entire semester.
Stop her! Don't let her get away!
I think you better come with us, Miss Patty. We have to talk with you.
Well, now we'll find out what the bonds are. Well, madam. Hand them over.
She won't answer to you. She won't answer to anybody.
Oh, yes, she will.
Oh, no, she won't.
Well, we'll see to that. Well, madam, what have you got to say for yourself?
I hate everything in the world. But most of all, I hate revolving doors, cuspidors, fights, fuzz, fleas, bumblebees, prickly heat, bats, snacks, pills, pots, pans, worms, germs, pachyderms, and politicians!
Weren't you listening?
Madam, did you hear me?
Senator, there's no need to shout at her. She can hear you quite well, but she's not going to answer you. She hasn't answered a question in 20 years.
Don't try any tricks on me, madam.
Don't make her mad, Titus. She carries a knife.
Mrs. Savage, please. Miss Patty doesn't carry a knife. She's hostile, but quite harmless. Now, will you be so kind as to yield the floor to us?
Very well, but I still want to hear her talk.
So do we all.
Mrs. Patty, this is very important. Do you remember the little stack of bonds on the table a few minutes ago?
She does and she doesn't.
This is exciting. I wish we could open a door and have a body fall out.
Very please. Mrs. Patty, I need you to focus. Do you remember turning the lights off? Yes, you do. Now, do you remember a little stack of bonds on the table a few minutes ago? Try to remember. Think.
Dr. Emmett, I found them.
No, you don't! Hand over to me.
But Senator.
I'll take charge of these.
Oh, radio tubes.
But you said you found the ponds.
I said nothing of the sort.
This restores my faith in witchcraft.
In the basement, in the hot air duct leading up to Barry's room.
I told you I was cold all winter and you wouldn't believe me.
I hold you both personally responsible for this fiasco, doctors.
Just what do you suggest we do, Senator?
Search that woman. She may still have them hidden on her person.
I'm afraid that's gonna present a problem.
Search everyone else while we concentrate on trying to find a way to make her talk.
Very well. Miss Lily, will you please take Mrs. Savage to her room and search her?
Oh, no, take me. I'm the youngest and I'm dressed the quickest. Or would you like to draw straws?
You first, Fairy. I don't want to miss anything.
Thank you.
Would you like to come with me, Barry?
Oh, yes. Did you know I was once asked to play Lady Godiva in the Elks pageant? I did. My mother was afraid of so many elves.
Wouldn't you like to make this a lot easier?
Don't you have some kind of threat that you resort to here, Doctor?
I don't threaten my patients. Miss Patty, look at me.
The truth drug.
Yes, of course. Truth drug on it. Then we can make her talk.
That's out of the question. We don't have her guardian's consent.
Well, who's her guardian?
Her husband,
We'll get him on the phone. Where does he live?
Japan.
Well, in the meantime, haven't you the authority to act?
We've no proof that she took them yet. So, no.
I still think Lilybell is your girl.
Will you stop saying that?
Dr. Emmett,
Yes, Jeff.
since Mrs. Savage can't have her bonds anyhow, I think I can help you.
Yes.
Mrs. Patty didn't take them
How do you know?
because I took them.
He's the thief. I knew you were being tricked. Hand them over, young man.
I can't.
Jeffrey, did you take them?
Yes, ma'am.
Then where are they?
I've searched Barry, Doctor. She doesn't have to.
Speak up!
I threw them out the window.
Go inside quickly, Dennis. We'll watch the window.
Stop! Parcheesi, the Royal Game of India?
Jeff, you couldn't have thrown them out the window. The window is closed.
It's stuck.
Just what do you mean by misleading us?
Oh, let go of him, you big stupid ox!
He said he stole the bonds!
Well, he didn't. I happen to know he didn't.
And just how do you happen to know that?
That's none of your business.
Miss Lily, how do you know?
Because I had my arms around Jeff when the lights went out. I wanted to protect him from being hurt or anything.
Thank you.
That's not true. She didn't. I took them. No one else.
Dr. Emmett, Miss Lily, something awful has happened. There's a fire upstairs with flames. This high.
Mary, you mustn't. We have company.
Well, they were this high at least.
Fairy, please come and sit down quietly.
But there's a fire upstairs. Please believe me, there's a fire.
Where?
In the bathtub.
Fairy, sit down.
I can't, I'm full of pin.
Jeff, if you know where the bonds are, will you tell us?
I told you he couldn't have taken them.
Of course he couldn't. If anyone should know that, I should.
Well, now I suppose you took them.
I confess everything.
There's a fire upstairs.
There's a conspiracy down here.
I won't tell you.
These people are trying to deceive us.
I know a fire when I see one.
Miss Lily, will you please take Florence up to her room and search her?
Come along, Florence.
I won't tell them, Mrs. Savage. Even if they put me in solitary confinement. Cut off all my hair.
Well, it's a waste of time to search through Florence.
Well, now I suppose you've taken.
No, but I know who did.
Please believe me, there's a fire.
Hannibal, who took the bonds?
It wasn't Miss Patty,
Who was it?
and it wasn't Florence either.
I don't want to know who it wasn't. I want to know who was it.
Is that good grammar?
Well, if you ask a Mohammedan what God is, he'll tell you all the things that God isn't, because it's easier.
And one of the things he isn't on your side.
Hannibal, if you know who took the bonds, will you tell us?
Well, it was a woman, and it wasn't Miss Patty.
Oh, Fiddle, let the house burn.
How do you know it wasn't Mrs. Patty?
She doesn't wear perfume.
Lilybell bathes in it.
I was nowhere near the table. How do you know it was a woman?
Well,
Really, Lilybell?
well, when the lights went out, I was pushed aside, and I smelt perfume.
Can you identify the scent?
I think so.
Well, I use gardenia. What do you use, Fairy?
No, Nay, I make my own.
Hannibal, smell Lily Bell.
Because I won't stand for this. They're making fools of us for their own amusement.
Smell anything, Hannibal?
Yes!
What?
Smoke.
High time.
I must be losing my mind. I smell smoke too.
Dr. Emmett, I found a fire in Mrs. Patty's bathtub.
I don't think I'll speak to anyone.
In the bathtub.
I'm afraid it's the bonds. What's left of them?
Oh no. No.
No, wait, let me see. These could be anything.
Miss Patty, did you take the bonds to your room and set fire to them?
Senator, there's a part of something that didn't burn. Can you tell what it is?
Why, it's the burnt end of $500,000 bonds.
Senator, are you sure? Can you identify this, Mrs. Savage?
Well, the treasure hunt is over. It's all that's left of $10 million.
I should have told a lie, and someone would have believed me.
We're so sorry, Harry. We should have. Senator, surely there must be some way of having them replaced.
Well, there isn't!
Well, they can't be gone. They just can't.
You miserable, useless creature, do you know what you cost us?
Let her alone. Never mind, Mrs. Patty.
I've stood for enough bullying of my patients as I intend to. Now, will you be so kind as to leave at once?
What about the burnt piece? Is it worth anything?
Nothing. I hold you both wholly and personally responsible.
I can't be poor. I don't know how.
It's all right, we felt. We'll endure. We always have. I am still senator after all.
Lily Bell, I never intended it to end like this. Believe me.
Take me home, Titus. Please.
Titus,
Yes.
what happens to me?
You have nothing to worry about. We never allow you to be sent to a public institution.
We are savages.
Goodbye. You say goodbye to people we don't want to see again.
Don't cry, Mrs. Patty. I'm sure you hate tears, too.
Maybe she thinks her tub is cracked.
Mrs. Savage, did you think you could change them?
No one changes people. One makes changes people learn to accept. I hope that by making them look like fools, I'd make them look with understanding on the fools of good heart.
And who are the fools of good heart?
I'd say those who gamble on people and invest in kindness. Those who doubt that position means privilege or that manners mean morals. And of course, the rebels with no fear of failure.
That makes very good sense.
And justifies my being here.
Would you like to leave?
They'd never let me go.
Your guardians have nothing to say. No patient's commitment is final until I've made my decision. I see no valid reason for you being here.
Then does that mean I'm free?
I'd let you go under my authority at once, but I'll have to check with the medical examiner first. Then I'll let you know for sure.
I think I'll pack your things, just in case. We can always unpack again.
You hate us.
Why do you say that, Fairy?
You want to leave us.
Oh, Fairy, I must.
Is there someone waiting for you?
No. Does someone need you? No.
But you can't leave. I haven't had time to get you a going away present. Maybe I can find something anyhow. I'll go look.
I'd like to see what I can find for you too, Mrs. Savage. Will you wait?
Oh, fun. Come on, everyone. Let's go see what we can find.
I have something I just remembered.
Don't leave before we get back now, or you won't get anything.
I'll try to find something useless. I do a poor practical gift.
There's nothing in my room that you'd want, Mrs. Savage. But I do have something on me that I prize. My class ring. On the inside it says, "Let there be light." Something Miss Patty would hate.
No, Hannibal, I couldn't take the ring off your finger.
It's stark. Can't get it off.
No, keep it. I deeply appreciate the offer, the sentiment, and just thank you.
My fingers got too fat on either side of it.
Keep it, Hannibal. You've had it so long it has become a part of you.
Oh, I'm all out of breath. Feel my heart.
Why, very dear.
But I found something. I hope you weren't expecting much, because then you won't be disappointed.
I won't be disappointed.
Couldn't find anything to wrap it with except a Kleenex. You can feel my heart too, Hannibal.
About 104 beats per minute, I'd say.
How very nice. You want to know what it is?
What is it, Mrs. Savage?
It's a handkerchief.
Oh no, it's a cloth napkin. So many places give paper napkins, but they blot or smear.
Bless you, Fairy. I'll take it with me whenever I'm invited out.
It says the cloisters on it. Wasn't that lucky?
Oh, Fairy found something first. What did she give you? A hand-picked napkin. Then it fits in perfectly with my present. It's practical after all. I hope you don't mind. Oh, you shouldn't have, Florence.
What is it?
A salt shaker.
And full of salt, too. And it's engraved. It says the cloisters on it. No, you got to do too much trouble. Oh, it was nothing.
Is it sterling?
Fairy dear, I wouldn't dream of giving Mrs. Savage anything that wasn't sterling.
It's dented.
Really, Fairy? Dents give an antique character. Indeed they do.
Well, I won't say goodbye. I can't stand goodbyes. I don't recognize them.
Oh, you didn't expect us to say goodbye, did you? I didn't even expect a salt shaker. In that case, how do you do, Mrs. Savage? We've looked so forward to meeting you.
We're glad you're here at last. Make yourself at home.
Oh, I almost forgot. John Thomas asked me to give you something from him. He would have delivered it himself, but he was afraid you'd catch his measles. Come, Fairy, let's pretend it's garden hour.
Will you excuse us? We have to dig weeds. Take an umbrella. It's raining.
What have you brought, Jack?
Just a book, but I hope you enjoy it.
The Lifespan of the Ape. Do you know, I've never read it.
I was lucky, wasn't I?
I'm going to read it tonight.
Hello, Mrs. Patty. We thought you'd forgotten about us.
How did you know this was just what I needed?
May I see it?
It's a genuine mother of pearl button. I'll sew it on at once.
I think it's meant to be an eye for the bear.
Why, bless your angry heart, of course. We both thank you. He's hated having only one eye.
I hate everything in the world. I hate everything in the world. But I hate everything in the world except for you, and I love you, and I wish you wouldn't leave us.
Daddy. Wait, she said she loved me.
Yes?
Aren't you amazed?
Why? You do it all alone.
Yes, but she spoke.
She had to say it.
Well, Jeff, shall we see what the girls are up to? It's a lovely night, and everyone's polite. Watch out, or you'll break your neck.
You have perfect occlusion.
Oh, I think I have everything. Even your $85 hat. I told you you'd want it again.
My beautiful and foolish hat.
You know, I think you've been wearing it backwards.
You know, I have.
Good to be straightened out.
Where did everybody go?
They gave me going away presents and then refused to say goodbye.
I'll bet I can guess what they gave you.
No, you can't. Mrs. Patty gave me an eye with which to see myself. Florence, a grain of salt to take with what I see.
That's good. And Fairy?
A memory of loveliness.
I'm afraid to most people she wouldn't seem a very lovely girl.
Well, she wears her beauty with a great plainness.
That's good. And Jeff?
The book of Joey.
Nothing for Hannibal.
I'd say he gave me an appreciation of music I never had before.
Oh, I have something for you too.
You behave yourself.
It isn't much.
My bonds!
Except for a corner of one I had to burn with the newspapers when the lights went out.
Oh dear, why?
I'm not sure.
Well, don't tell me you're a kleptomaniac.
It was too quick to think. What bothered me is that after I took them, I toyed with the idea of keeping them.
That's a normal impulse. What stopped you?
What Jeff might think.
You should get away from here, my dear. Those kinds of thoughts are not good for you.
But you knew Jeff was my husband, didn't you?
I certainly did not.
Well, he is. And I want to be here for him when he recovers. Do you know why I wouldn't keep any of that money? Pure selfishness. I want to do everything for him myself. Surely you understand that.
The only thing I don't understand is how I could ever have felt so sorry for myself. Isn't there something about a fool like a you-know-what?
Something, but I don't think it applies to you.
I've spoken with the medical examiner.
Yes?
Station wagon is parked outside and ready to take you wherever you need to go. Will you take her bags out to the car, please?
Yes, Doctor.
I have a few papers for you to sign, and other than that, you're free to go.
Oh, I must be out of my mind. Really, I don't want to go.
You mean you'd rather leave tomorrow?
I don't think I want to leave at all.
Why?
Suddenly, I'm weary. I would like to rest. I would like to be relieved of decision. I would like to be protected against uncertainty and accident. I would like to close my eyes and know that there are walls to guard my sleep.
But the piece you find here is a moon reflecting on a dark lake. Strike the surface and you destroy it. Do you really want that type of peace?
I want what everyone wants, to want nothing. These people have found contentment.
How do you know?
I have eyes to see.
So is Jeffrey, but he only sees what he wants to see. An excuse for not facing the future. Does Florence see that her child was taken from her? Or Fairy? Does the mirror tell her what it should? No. These people have taken refuge in an eggshell world where you don't belong.
Where do I belong?
In a world that best serves you. The impulse to live your life of courage is right. Go ahead with your memorial fund. But don't be betrayed by the illusion of contentment. The door is ready for you. Make peace with your loneliness.
Oh, thank goodness you're still here and thought of what I could give you.
No, Hannibal, not your violin.
Well, of course not. You couldn't play it. But what I can give you is a song that you can take with you wherever you go. Would you like to hear it?